One at Farmborough was a big one. I got the right front in the walk-through gate at the flag stand.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's still on Cogeco Sports. They show that for
It's a highlight?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We've had a lot of requests.
Haven't seen you in 15 minutes.
Yeah, since lunch. So with all my racing type guests, kind of paint a picture of, I guess, where you were born, kind of where you grew up. I know you moved around a lot, and what your early childhood was like.
Back what I can remember, as far as we grew up on a farm in Markham, and just did that. Had the dirt bikes and learned how to drive in a '69 Chevy pickup with a 3 on the tree.
Nice.
150 acres, and just.
Were you guys farming it?
No.
Just land?
My dad had a tow truck business.
Okay.
So, we just lived there. I went to school in Unionville and lived there until we moved out Oakville.
And was your dad racing from the time you were born or later on?
Yeah, 70 he started.
Okay.
So I was 3.
Right. And it wasn't anything to do with his dad. It was he started doing it?
Yeah, he helped the guy out a little bit at Pinecrest Speedway.
Okay.
And then the year after that, he built his own car.
Right.
And away he went.
So why'd you guys move to Oakville?
Well, I have to go back a little bit. He was out there doing his racing thing. He had a shop fabricating, and he was building these trailers, race car trailers.
Okay.
Really low-slung trick little trailer. And Junior saw them at the racetrack, Junior Hanley.
Okay.
And he bought a whole bunch of them.
Okay.
Ordered like 5, 6 of them.
Right.
So he did the trailers, and then next thing I knew, I was in Oakville.
And so he moved his trailer business to Oakville.
Junior bought the fixtures and everything.
Okay.
And my dad went to work for him then.
Okay, so kind of bought out his business and saw that your dad was a good fabricator and said, come work in my race shop.
Yeah, and that was, I want to say, late 81.
Okay. And did your dad continue to race when he started working at Juniors?
No.
Okay.
No, he packed it in. He raced a little bit here and there, like one-offs here and there, but that was it. There's no time for racing when you were working there.
Right. That was probably full-time. So then when did, I guess, what was your introduction to racing, just growing up around that shop?
Yeah, I'd go there every day after school.
Okay.
Weld seats together, radio boxes.
Like as a pretty little kid?
Yeah, I was like grade 7.
Okay.
And every day, 4 o'clock,
Yep.
I was there and worked till 6, 7.
So the apprenticeship started early?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't just hang around.
Right.
You'd find something for you to do.
Yeah. When did racing start for you, and how did that start?
Not till later. I was, in this day and age, I was really late.
Yeah.
I was 15.
Okay. In go-karts?
Yep.
Okay.
And a friend of Junior's, Kenny Bonham,
Yeah.
he just said, hey, I've got this. It was a 4-cycle twin, G200s.
Two engines.
Two engines. And you had to be 16 to run them. And his son was way young.
Okay.
But he bought the thing. He said, why don't you come race it till Steven's old enough?
Right.
And then I ran that for quite a while, really.
So you had a team owner right away?
Yeah, I had a car owner immediately.
Yep.
Which was the only way I was going to do it.
Right. And I guess, what was that like at the time? Did you get a decent gauge on your ability doing that?
Well, I grew up in it. So you learn a lot of lessons being around it full time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the karting specifically.
No, I just jumped in and went. And
okay.
I was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't really my...
So did you go with your dad to the track, or was he busy?
They worked.
Okay.
Like nobody is going to outwork those two. Like, it's 100 hours every week.
Right.
Sunday to Sunday, 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock.
Wow.
And just, eat your lunch while you're working.
Right.
And because at that time, Junior was building, there was 3 of them in the shop full time.
Okay.
And they were building a car a week.
Wow. So when did you you finished high school?
Yep.
But you were working basically full time otherwise with them.
I was learning.
Right.
Yep. Yep. And I went to the races with them sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, a bunch of them, and you learn so much then. So when I did start racing, I was pretty prepared.
Right. Right.
know.
As to what the drill was.
What was important.
Yeah.
You know how to prepare.
So when did your racing really start? When was the jump to cars?
We finished up with the karts. I ran that for a couple years, and then another fella had a hobby car.
Okay, like a vintage modified,
Yep,
or is it
vintage
okay.
modified?
Yep.
And he said, "You want to drive it?" So I said, "Sure." So I got in that. Started at Farmborough, and I never really raced full time.
Okay.
So started with that. It went really well. I think we finished third or fourth the first night, and ran that. The season after that, we built a brand new car.
Right.
For
like out of junior shop.
Well, my dad had a shop too.
Okay.
So we built it there. Just built a brand new hobby car and ran that. That was in 91.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're 24 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so how did you kind of conceptualize, like after that first season, you know, how did you conceptualize, I guess, your career? Were you, okay, I want to go, you know, be a race car driver, or was it the model just whatever Junior was doing?
No, it was, you know, I was going to do what I could.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier then. The kids now have it tougher because then you could build your own stuff. You could go, if you worked hard, you could, you know, the tires were $50.
Right.
You know, you could get going on your own. Now and I was lucky. I had people who
really knew what they were doing.
And other people who really helped me.
Right.
You know, so I had that car. That was my own car. I ran that. And then Bill Snowden came along.
Okay.
And his wife told him, it's a good story. She said, if you're going to continue to own that super late model, you better put somebody in it that can drive it. So he came to me, he said, you want to drive it? And that was it.
What year was that?
That was, so 92, I won the championship in the vintage modifieds.
Right.
I ran here and there. Probably 94.
Okay.
He came.
Okay.
Yep.
So you won the vintage modified championship, and that was the year your dad passed.
92.
Right.
Yeah.
How much of a struggle was that for you to adjust? I mean, I'm sure he was, you know, like anyone in racing, their dad is monumental in helping them, you know, in the shop or at the track, or, you know, one of each. Yeah. How much was it a struggle for you and Scott, I guess, to adjust?
In the racing end of it, it was easy.
Okay.
Because when I built that car, like I needed a trailer. There's the fixtures. There's the drawing. Build it.
Right.
I needed to build a car. There's the tubing rack. Figure it out.
Right.
Right. I needed a motor. A few guys helped me out with engines. It was like, figure it out. He only came to the racetrack 2-3 times.
Okay.
Ever.
Wow.
So at the racetrack, I was on my own.
Right.
It was sink or swim.
Right.
So he always knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But so as far as the racing's concerned, it wasn't a big transition.
Right.
He wasn't there holding my hand. So, but the shop was tough.
Right.
You know, and it's tough. It was tough, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And you took over your dad's shop?
Yeah, just for finish up what was going on. And I was in the middle of a motor machinist apprenticeship.
Okay.
At the time. I was like halfway through it.
Right.
And I just went to the shop and started working.
Right.
So.
Right. Took over everything.
Yeah. And then stuck with it.
Right. Yeah. So when was kind of because you've got so many good stories of traveling down south with, you know, Randy Macdonald and Junior and Balough and stuff. When was that all happening? Right around that time? Yeah.
Well, my first trip with them really was Nashville.
Okay.
And that was 81.
Oh, so yeah, you were young.
Like 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, it's the All-American 400. You know, they're on the pole. They're leading the race. They're, you know, they're the guys,
right.
Period. And it's just great experiences, right? Like Pete Hamilton is there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Balough, Junior, everybody.
Right.
You know, the kings of short track racing. You know, and there was a lot of other trips. Like some of the best trips were around town.
Right.
You know, to Barrie Speedway on a Wednesday night or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you go with him, you work your tail off, and, you know, anything less than winning it's a quiet ride home.
Right.
You know?
You've got a story where you wanted to go, or you had set up to go work with Balough for the winter or something like that, or summer?
That came from Nashville. I was there. I worked with him all weekend.
Okay.
And so it Sunday afternoon rolls around. The races are over. We're packing up, and he says, "Why don't you stay and work for the summer?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in."
Right.
So I go to my dad. I said, "Hey, I'm staying." He's like, "No, you're not. There's a motorhome over there. You're getting in it, and it's on its way home," because they were going to New Smyrna or somewhere right after that.
Right.
And I had to go back to school.
Right.
So he said, "Your ride's over there."
He saw that it wasn't a good path.
Yeah, probably before I did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got to finish school.
Yeah. You got to finish school before you get the real education.
Right. So then when did you were saying 94, that's when the super late model deal came about.
Yep.
And then now you're doing some racing.
Yeah, we're doing the super thing, the Flexmore series and super late models. Then there was a race every weekend.
Right.
You could go or not go. It wasn't a huge points deal.
Okay.
But we ran that as much as we could.
Yeah.
Sold off the hobby car and all that. And, my first trip to Peterborough Speedway in that thing, I went down the back straightaway, first green lap, and the brake pedal went right to the floor.
Oof.
Yeah, just about got out. The car had sat forever.
Yeah.
And it was a last-minute thing. O-rings fall out of the caliper. So we took that and rebuilt it.
You hit the wall?
Oh, hard, yeah. I almost got out of the racetrack.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So we stripped it. Just went front to back, fixed it, and then we were on our way.
And then in those early 90s, you were running like a crazy amount of races, kind of all pretty locally, right?
Yeah, everything local.
Yeah.
I didn't stray too far away. They had that Flexmore series, and then they had 50s at Farmborough, specials, and run what you brung, and wings and boards. So it was a fun time, and I was busy in the shop too at that time.
Right. So in the shop, this is your own shop?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you never really went and worked for Junior?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I just, if he needed help, I'd help him.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't have raced without him.
Right.
Honestly.
Okay.
None of it.
Okay.
So
in what sense?
Just if I needed help, he helped.
Right.
You know, if I needed stuff, he always helped. Right. Quietly.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have raced without him. And the knowledge.
Right.
You know.
Right.
He was the best at looking at something and going, "Hey, you gonna leave that like that?" You know, and then you could pry out of him
what it was.
what I was failing miserably at. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and he did that for a lot of guys.
Right.
You know.
So, with that super deal, how did you conceptualize that? Was the prize money good enough for it to make sense as spending like a lot of time doing it?
It was good because I didn't own it.
Right.
Bill Snowden owned it.
Right.
And he was fantastic. He's passed away from ALS. But he was great. He'd say, if you need it, buy it.
Okay.
You know, if it's a toy, we'll talk about it.
Right.
And, you know, he was big on the motor thing. You know, you had to have good motors. So, you know, go to Gary Cunningham and order what you want.
Right.
So we had really good motors, you know, got rid of that car and built a brand new car.
Right.
And, won a lot of races with him.
So what did it pay to win, I guess? You know, you would go, say, Suable, Farmborough, Peterborough.
They were 50 laps.
Okay. So not much wear and tear on the cars.
Nope. 50 laps. You got there at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
You were home by midnight, 1:30. You know, a late night would be 1 a.m.
Yeah.
The tires were $80-$90 a piece, and they paid $1,500-$1,800 to win.
Okay. Okay. And you got a piece of that, or the whole thing?
Yeah, we just put it back in.
Right.
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 So, you know, I bought what we needed, just maintained the car, and you could, you know, sometimes they'd have 50s, and Kawartha, they had 50s. We won all three. I think each one paid $1,500, and they had $1,500 bonus for winning all three.
Right.
You know, I spent $600 in tires.
Yep.
You know, it makes what we're doing now look silly.
Right.
You know.
Right. Was there like a plan in your mind as far as, you know, moving south to what is probably the mecca of, you know, short track racing or NASCAR stuff?
Well, my dad told me when I was younger, if you want to do that, go now.
Mm.
You know, I went in 95 with Murray.
Okay. Yeah, who I've had on the podcast,
Yeah.
Murray Tim, yeah.
And Eddie Dickerson hired me. He said, get your paperwork and you can come here. But I had young family.
Yeah.
I wanted to race.
Yep.
You know, and the immigration stuff is a tedious process. I'd work at the shop. I was busy.
Yep.
You know, so I just didn't do it.
Right.
You know.
Right. So what kind of stuff were you doing at the shop? You were building chassis, and for anyone, you know, anyone notable?
Yeah, we did a ton of CASCAR stuff.
Okay.
Get Peter Gibbons, Neil Fair. Gibbons won a bunch of championships. Probably built 150 cars.
Wow.
Over those
like
years.
CASCARs?
Not
or total?
Total.
Okay. Yeah.
And doing super late models,
Right.
sportsman cars, Thunder cars. Built Larry Jackson's first race car.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, just, you know, doing our thing. And we were 1.5, 2 people.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know.
So then you're doing the super late model stuff, and when do you set your sights on CASCAR? How does you get a deal essentially to go racing? How does that come about?
Yeah, we talked about it. Bill didn't want anything to do with it. He's a very smart man.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Scott had a connection with Dana.
Yeah.
With Wix Filters,
Right.
Federal or
Dana being the parent company and
Dana Corporation.
Yeah, yeah.
So they had a whole umbrella of companies.
Yeah.
So we talked to them a little bit, or Scott did. Scott did it all. And
Scott, your younger brother, who's
Yeah.
6 years younger.
yeah, he dealt with all that stuff.
Yeah.
He dealt with, you know, he got T-shirts made, and I'm like, why are we wasting money on T-shirts?
Right,
Who's
right.
going to buy those?
Right.
And we paid our tire bill with T-shirt money.
Oh wow.
You know, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to work on the car and drive it.
Right. And he was more the marketing
I
guy.
didn't want to deal with any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a really good job at it.
Yeah.
You know, putting it out there, and he got the deal.
Okay.
It was nowhere near enough money,
Right.
but it was supposed to be a 3-year deal.
Okay.
So the first year was X amount. So we did our own work.
Right.
So we got to the racetrack.
Right.
Right. And then,
You guys got that deal though on a crazy timeline for the season, right?
yeah, like 4 weeks before.
And you had to build everything
Because I said, I'm not spending a penny
till you get the check.
till it's done.
Yeah.
And it was their first deal. So it took time.
Yeah.
You know, there's contracts and lawyers, and I'm just saying, he's like, we should get going. And I'm like, man, you got money?
Right.
You know, so he did the best he could, and we're learning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but he did it, you know, second, third biggest corporation on the planet.
Yeah. It's
you know?
impressive.
So we did it, got going, didn't run very good.
Right. Just what, lack of time to prep and test?
No, just, it really didn't fit me.
Like the car, the style.
Yeah, I was bad at it. You know, it took a lot of time really to get, they're a different animal.
Sure. Yeah. You can't drive them hard.
The harder you drive them, the slower you go.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just overdriving the hell out of the car, and we were down on motor. You know, no excuses. We had a great car.
Sure.
But it just didn't fit me. It was not my, you know, and then I got pissed about it.
Yeah.
And hated it.
Yeah.
And then it just got worse.
Right. Right.
I
Then
didn't
it's
even
frustrating
wanna-
going to the
didn't even wanna
track.
Be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you get out of the Super, you just won 350 lappers in a row, and getting that thing, and you know, you can run 13th if you have a good day.
Right.
You know, and it's tough racing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that, you know, and then the sponsor had trouble with CASCAR. I don't know the details, but they weren't happy.
Right.
Whatever happened. And they come to me at the end of that year and said, we're not coming back. So our 3-year plan. So the
Right.
first year was just enough to get into trouble.
Right.
year 2 would catch you up.
Right.
Year 3,
It would make sense.
it would make sense.
Mm.
Right. And that was, what are you going to do?
Right. So you got all this nice shiny new equipment.
Yeah.
What'd you do? You end up selling it?
Jim Bray came into the shop one day.
Okay. Who I've also had on the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, I heard you're getting out. You guys are done. The sponsor's gone." And I'm like, "Yep." And he said, "I want to buy the car." And I said, "Jim," like I knew Jim pretty good. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I said, he said, "I'll buy it. You drive it. It makes sense that I can make money with this." And I said, "Jim, don't do it. You're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not the guy for you anyway."
Mm.
But he bought it.
Okay.
And I drove for him for a little bit in '99.
Yeah.
Just hit and miss here and there.
Right.
And it was better, actually.
Mm.
I don't know.
Just less stress.
Yeah, I just tried to figure out how to be better at it.
Yeah.
And, we ran the road courses. First time I ever seen Mosport in my life.
Other than go-karting, I guess first road courses, really.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Never seen the place. Yep. Go there for the CASCAR race.
Oh, yeah, that's quite the track, quite the race to show up in.
Put a map on the dash and away I went. And it was grass then.
Yeah. The Armco coming out of 1 through 2 through 3.
Ron Fellows took me out
Mm.
and in the pace car and said, he was awesome. Just put your wheel there. Put your wheel there. Put your wheel there. Whatever gear you think you should be in, go up one.
Okay.
And I picked up like 2 seconds.
Right
away.
Right.
Robin Buck was a big help. And we ran good, actually. We should have ran third in that one race.
Wow.
And broke the shifter
Mm.
with 3 to go. So, but I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Right.
And then I was running the Super.
During that time.
Yeah.
So when did and I'm not like I don't know the whole history on the super late model stuff. When did it become OSCAAR super late model?
They were around for quite a while. I think like 92.
Okay.
90.
Okay.
But they were always split.
Right. It wasn't like earlier when super late models could kind of go anywhere.
Well, earlier it was a late model.
Right.
Okay, you had a late model and you had Challengers
Mm.
and you had Thunder cars.
Okay.
So you could take your late model, you could go to Suable,
Mm-hmm.
Barrie, Delaware. Like Junior used to run, sometimes 3-4 nights a week.
Wow.
You'd leave Cayuga on Sunday afternoon and go to Suable Beach for Sunday night,
Mm.
And that's how it was. And then they got split up and, they had this group, that group, and it was a mess. And it's kind of like that now,
Right.
But, Bill still owned the car.
Yeah.
Built a brand new car, ran that probably 4 or 5 races, sold it, built another brand new one. And, we just go to the racetrack, no paint, no numbers. And
Nice.
yeah.
And you guys during that era kind of dominated. You had something like a 40% win rate.
Yeah, that was like 03, 2003, 04, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were friends with Don Biedermann and you won his memorial race like 4 or 5 times in a row?
3 times.
Okay.
3 times, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Jeff Hanley's won it 4.
Okay.
Yep. And Rob Clark won it a bunch of times. And it was a cool race to win.
Right.
And they moved it around.
Yep.
Farmborough was usually the home for it. So, yeah. We built the car for that race and just showed up. Hadn't raced all year and won it that night, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
But, we had fun with those cars.
I guess explain for someone who doesn't know what kind of, or, super lates down in the States, what was the rule book like? It was pretty simple.
When it first started, it was a cubic inch,
Yep.
left side, weight, and a tire.
And that's it.
Yeah, and I think, I think the spoiler height was 45 inches.
Okay.
No roof height.
Right.
Not like the rules were more of a suggestion.
Mm.
You had to have seat belts and, you have to have a motor, bring a good one.
Right.
And then they tried the age-old question, we're going to save you money,
Mm.
right? So then we got into the steel-headed motors. It just cost money,
Right.
right? So that's where it kind of split. You've got an aluminum motor that makes 750 horsepower. Well, this guy's got a steel-headed motor. He can't compete.
Right.
Or he thinks he can't compete.
Yeah.
So they change all the rules. So they put a restrictor plate on our motors.
Yeah, now you're into like balance of performance.
Well, yeah, you got a 800 horse motor with a 1.25 inch restrictor plate on it.
Yeah.
So Bill said, we'll build steel motor.
Sure.
So he called Gary, said, build a steel motor to their rules. Well, we were faster with the steel motor, right? So, but we spent $50,000 doing it. And that's the motor that's in the blue Corvette.
Oh, downstairs.
The one that you ran.
Yeah.
That's the motor.
Good motor.
Yep. So, still kicking.
You've had some hard hits.
Yeah, a few.
Tell me about some of them, or that you remember.
One at Cayuga in the CASCAR. That was a big one. Hit flat right sides just before the flag stand. And, I'll tell you, the steering box was jammed into the ground.
Oh.
So that was a big one. And broke a motor at Mossport, and it locked the rear wheel just about where you'd lift at the oval on the back.
Oh, on the oval.
The
Okay,
oval.
yeah.
Locked the rear wheels when it blew up, and I hit flat left sides.
Like spun around and hit.
Just spun and hit completely flat and that's the hardest you're going to hit, And then one at Farmborough was a big one. I got the right front in the walk-through gate at the flag stand.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's still on Cogeco Sports. They show that for
it's a highlight?
Yeah. Yep.
You ever hurt yourself bad?
No.
Just concussions?
Never broke anything. Had a bad one at Peterborough on the back straightaway, but that's it. Raced a lot of years, so 5 or 6 is not too bad.
Almost died in Newfoundland last year.
You did?
You.
Oh, yeah, that was nothing.
So then NASCAR comes up and buys CASCAR, and Jim's still got his deal, and you continue to do some NASCAR stuff throughout the years?
Yeah, he would put guys in. He had Joey McComb, he had Larry Jackson, so I couldn't do it for him all the time, right? And he wanted to do more and more and more, and I just couldn't do it.
Right.
And, if I saw somebody that I thought could help him, we'd put him in. Like we had Brandon Watson in that car at Cayuga when he was 13.
Really?
Yep.
Just testing?
13 or 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just took him on a test. I said, you need to look at this kid.
Right.
I watched him race mini stocks at Barrie, and he was impressive.
Yeah.
And Jim took him out and put him in the car.
Wow.
At that point, there's not much more I can do.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened or, whatever. But, yeah, it's he was good.
Mm-hmm.
He was impressive as a little kid.
Right.
We raced up there probably 3 times a year, and they raced every night we were there.
Right.
And he's like, who is this kid? There's been a few of those.
Mm-hmm. So then you're, doing some of those races. Like you got to run Montreal.
I did.
The Formula One track.
He called me about that one, and I said, absolutely, I'll do that one. How many guys get to race there?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Formula One drivers in the Busch Series at that point.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I said, for sure, I'll do that one. So, yeah, I had a great time there. Hopefully you get to go there someday.
Yeah. I think NASCAR will
enjoy it.
Yeah.
It'd be a monstrous event for the Pinty series if they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best race fans in the world, maybe.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
arguably.
You drive down in the hairpin passing somebody and you can hear them. Like, it was incredible. It was
That's
a great
cool.
event. Yeah. Ran good.
Yeah.
Probably should have finished 10th or 11th. Yeah. Broke the sway bar on the white flag lap. The curbs are big there.
Yeah. They don't want you on them.
Well, you can't get the right in the chicane coming onto the front.
Yeah.
So I hit the right.
And it launches you in the air. You
I'm
can
launched.
see 2 wheels, yeah.
And I did it quite well because as it was coming down, it pinned the left on the left-hand one.
Oh, yeah.
And it blew the sway bar right off the car.
Yep.
That's why I tell you now, stay off the curbs.
Yep. Yeah, they're hard on the car.
Yeah. So
what you were exposed to so many guys at such a young age. Who were some of I guess, your heroes or guys you looked up to, or kind of traveling through the States, like, wow, that's cool. Look at that guy.
Probably race wise, like Junior.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that works as hard still to this day, and smart as a
whip.
Just the work ethic, the detail, everything, start to finish. And, the little things that people don't think matter, that's why he was so good. That's why his cars were so good, and Balough.
Yeah.
Just incredible wheelman. We all know that. David Pearson, guys like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who stands out in this era for you as like a major talent? Could be any form of racing.
Bubba Pollard.
Yeah.
He's that old school. He goes from Maine to California and wins.
Yeah.
There's another guy, Preston Peltier.
Mm-hmm.
Same type of deal. Works his butt off by himself.
Yeah.
See, he builds the car, puts the body on the car, scales the car, drives the truck.
Yeah.
Goes to the racetrack, crew chiefs it, and wins.
Right.
Those guys are hard to
beat.
Hard to find.
Right.
And hard to beat. And that was Junior's deal.
Mm-hmm.
And, but as far as talent wise lately, freaking Steckley's kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's really good.
Kyle. Yeah.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Yep. Raphael.
Yeah.
There's a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
There's some, as far as drivers and racers, there's a bunch of pretenders.
Sure.
But those, you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell how good a guy is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Their attitude and how they respond, and
I think that that do everything mentality. Talking to your brother Scott, he says, "Get John to tell you the story about when he wasn't going to race, but then he just loaded everything up with no tools and went and won the race and didn't even have any tools there, just a jack stand or something."
That was with his car.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He was going to the cottage or something, and I don't know if he knows it was with his car, but he had a modified.
Okay.
Really cool little, like, basically a NASCAR modified with a little crate, not a crate, but they ran on an 8-inch slick, and they were having a special at Farmborough, and I just went. We had these tires left over from something, and we went there. We won.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just you, right?
I took a jack, a tire stagger gauge, an air pig, and we went one. The hobby car, I did it one night too. Same thing. I wasn't going to go, and at 4:45 in the afternoon, I just pushed it on the trailer myself and went.
Yeah.
And they wanted to tear the motor down that night. I said, I got nothing. So I had to borrow tools to take the clutch out of it and everything.
That's good.
Yeah.
So if you were in charge of someone's career, like a really young kid, what would you have them do? What would you have them go race? Say their career, like their end goal is undefined, but how would you, set them up on what would their schedule kind of be?
4-cycle karts to start, because they can learn a lot of racecraft. They can learn that mistakes cost them. It's not like a 2-cycle where you make a mistake and it's, it hurts you, but not 4-cycle. You go to the back.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good kids racing, so you can get good, that's where I'd start anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe even at an older age.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And it's physical.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I'd start them at Farmborough, because if you can run good there, you can go anywhere.
Tricky track.
It's tricky and it's rough and it's tough, and you learn, if you make mistakes, you're going to pay for it.
Yep.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
And it depends what route they want to go, whether it's road racing but karts is always
good start.
It's always the best start.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know how affordable it is anymore, but
Yeah.
you're going to spend it one way or the other.
Sure.
You know, I'd get hooked up with a group.
Mm-hmm.
I just did this with a kid,
Mm.
a friend of Matthew's through hockey.
Yeah.
He's older. He's 14,
Right.
just starting.
Right.
And his dad said, what do we do?
Yeah.
And I just hooked him up with Timmers.
Right.
Take care of him,
Yeah.
you know, and he's doing really well. But it's hard to start on your own when you know nothing and you don't have connections,
Yeah.
you know, but they're already talking about Formula Ford.
Oh, that's good.
He said, yeah, we'll back her down.
Yep. Yeah, it is. I remember, I think my first or second race, my dad got told that older tires were better. So we ran on old tires for the whole first season.
I'll tell him that next weekend.
Yeah.
Older tires are better.
Yeah.
But yeah, karts,
Yeah.
you know, it's where, you know, and do something on the dirt.
Mm.
Karts on the dirt,
Sure.
you know, why not?
Yeah.
I've never done it.
Mm. Yeah, kart on the dirt, yeah. Yeah, I think you probably learn, you know, 4-cycle go-kart asphalt is good for everything you stated, but then you don't learn driving in the slip like you would on the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've heard guys run their kids in the rain on the slicks,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Now it doesn't rain enough to, I don't think, learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, put them on the dirt, you know, and then see where your budget takes you from there,
Right.
you know, and what direction, you know.
Mm-hmm. If you were to design a series, you know, pick say a late model series or a super late model series or any sort of oval asphalt series, you know, how would you design it?
I don't know. I
Or
think
at least some principles.
I'd control the tire.
Mm.
Okay. Give them a race car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, the crate thing seems to work.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite a crate anymore.
Sure.
But you can match a crate with a built.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If the guy wants to have 750 horsepower and you put him on an 8-inch tire, right?
Yep.
The guy with the little crate motor is going to beat him,
Right.
you know, unless he's, you know,
Super
Kyle
talented.
freaking Bush or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But yeah, limit the tire, pull the tire back. I
Right.
see it even in the dirt stuff and the late models around town. Everybody can buy a incredible race car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you go to McCall, you go wherever.
Yeah.
And you buy a fantastic race car. The race cars are all the same.
Mm.
It's like the Pinty's cars.
Yep.
X, Y, Z. They're what you do with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could flip them all upside down. They look the same.
Right.
But pull the tire back
Mm.
and then race.
Right.
Everything's overtired,
Mm.
right? It's even the vintage stuff, like
Yep.
the Corvette. They got way too much tire. Those
Right.
cars are going way too fast for what they are.
Mm.
Maybe not our car.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty
Pretty
pretty damn good car,
Yeah.
right? But he's going 180 miles an hour at VIR.
Yeah, and a 69 Corvette.
Right.
Yeah.
So pull the tire back, slow them down,
Right.
you know, and then make them race. And promoters always say, oh, then you'll have a lot of wrecks. I say BS,
Yeah.
because you're in control of your car. You know how fast you drive in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know if you're going to drive into the guy's door or not.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. You know, the tire's not making the car wreck.
Right.
Right.
Right. No, it's just going to be better racing.
Yeah. And like the APC series, it's a fun series to watch. But the whole field was within 2/10.
Right.
It turns into boring
Mm-hmm.
because nobody can pass,
Right.
you know.
Right. So give guys less traction.
Take it away.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got the other problem, how you get the traction back,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's, I don't know. I don't think I'd get involved in
Yeah,
starting it from scratch.
Yeah.
Or you pay good money
Mm-hmm.
and you give them a slice of paper that says you got to have seat belts and a helmet
Right.
and a V8
Yeah.
and this tire.
Yeah. And then have at it.
You got to weigh this much.
Yeah.
Have fun, boys.
Yeah. Simple to enforce.
Yeah.
Super entertaining. And then you get all the guys who enjoy the aspect of, the engineering of a car and building a car and finding all the trick parts.
Yep.
To really flex on those guys.
Yeah, but I don't know if, who's going to take that chance.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a big gamble.
Yeah, but I think it would fly.
Mm-hmm.
A one-page rule book is the best.
Right. Right.
That's what I like. Give some guys some freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It's like our stuff. Some of the rules are crazy because, they're better now. But back when you're transitioning from a stock A-frame to a fabricated A-frame, you'd go to a junkyard and get an A-frame, you got to get everything sandblasted.
Yeah.
Okay, then you got to chop it all up. You got to fabricate it to what you want. You got to put the bushings in it anyway. You could have built 2 tubular A-frames.
Right.
But that stuff takes forever to change.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what I always ask at the end, kind of what advice you'd give, someone starting out who wants to. I'll ask you a couple advice questions, I guess, but someone starting out who wants to make a career in racing, where they should start and kind of the path they should take.
I think you got to have good people around you. And that's not necessarily your people who are yes men.
Right.
Sometimes you need somebody to say, no, that was your fault.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of guys today who can do no wrong
mm-hmm.
within their team, which is great. You need that. But you also need somebody to say, hey, you might have done this different.
Right.
Right? That's how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
We went through it.
Yep.
And good people. Like, I was so fortunate. I had freaking Junior Hanley, my dad, Ken Stewart.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, the guys you'd want.
Just fabricators, racers, and, a lot of other people along the way. But you have good people around you.
Mm-hmm.
Realize when you make a mistake, if 4 guys are in the pits yelling at you, it's probably a reason.
Yep.
And then just good people all the time, good equipment, and work hard at it.
Mm-hmm.
Hard work still works, I think.
Yeah.
And have a budget.
Right. Right. Any advice to anyone who would want to, that's as far as a racer goes, but as far as, being a fabricator or building race cars or, kind of any aspect being involved in a race team or starting their own thing, what kind of advice would you give someone?
Go to your local racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
Look for a team that's kind of family-ish looking.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, I want to help.
Mm.
How can I help? Where do you live?
Yeah.
And go to their shop on Wednesday nights and start there. If you're starting from scratch,
sure,
just go to your local racetrack.
Yep.
Whether it's karts, cars, boats, whatever, and just volunteer, put the time in, and if you work hard and are there, you'll be running it in no time.
Right.
Because then if you want to do it on your own down the road, that experience is invaluable.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're learning on somebody else's heartache.
Right.
So just volunteer.
Yeah.
There's so many teams right now
who
are dying for people.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone.
Like somebody who would come but everybody wants to get a big salary now and get paid. And, the payment is the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I guess the younger you can start, the less you're going to, feel that you need or deserve, a paycheck doing it.
Yeah, if it's something you think you're going to love, like once you get it, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
You're in it. You could go to, David White.
Yeah.
If you're in that area and say, "Hey, I want to learn. What can I do?"
Yeah.
You're going to sweep the floor. Damn, I used to sweep the parking lot on Wallace Road.
sweep all the rocks off the parking lot.
Yep.
You know, sort the bolt bin.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, just, you know, whatever. But it changes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then I was welding seats together.
Yeah.
Right. So, but you have to be willing to, you know, because those people never, like, if you come here and help, I'm never going to ask you to do anything that I haven't done.
Right. Right.
Right. So
No, that's good. Thanks for coming on.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right.
See you guys next week.